Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Look who is guest starring again on my channel. He's only sitting up here because I'm feeding him. He's guest starring today on my channel because today's video is actually involving him. So this is about a little altercation that he got into. This is about 2 years ago now that it happened, right? You remember it? So, no, anybody who doesn't know, this is my adorable pit bull Paco. He's initially Sean's dog, but when me and Sean met 2014, he latched onto me when Sean was going through his phase a couple years ago when we weren't together. And nobody was really taking care of Paco. I took him in as my doggy, and then when we got back together, we all became reunited, and he is the most adorable dog ever. I love him to death. He loves to cuddle. He loves to play around all the time. He's about 10 years old, but he has a personality of like a freaking puppy, and he's just so amazing. But as you can see, he has a lot of little marks on his face. He does not get along with other dogs. And that's where we're going to get to with this video. Now, again, censored. When I'm very upset or when I'm very heated or passionately talking about something that has made me very upset, I do tend to curse like a sailor. And in my previous videos, I've done my best. Okay, bye. Jerk. About 2 years ago, I believe Sean was in rehab at this time. So Sean wasn't around. It was just me, Paco, the two cats in the apartment. I do have two cats. You can check out my IG to see their gorgeous little faces. In the apartment complex that I live on the first floor. So I basically have a patio that looks out to the entrance of our apartment complex, and I absolutely hate it because anytime somebody comes down the stairs, you see them. You can't leave your blinds open for a certain amount of time because then you see people walking down, staring inside your house. You have to deal with him barking at other dogs. So I really absolutely hate living on the first floor with a first floor patio. This is January 2019. I was only in this apartment living here for like 4 months, and I knew that my neighbor that lives directly above me had another pit bull herself and also had another dog. Now, Paco grew up with another pit bull years ago when he was growing up, and all of a sudden, apparently, based off of what Sean told me, one day they were eating and the other pit bull went into Paco's bowl. Paco went crazy, attacked him. Since then, he has never been able to be allowed larger dogs. He has been around smaller dogs like a small Chihuahua, a small Jack Russell. He isn't very receptive to larger dogs, and these dogs that my above neighbor has are larger dogs. And every time he would see them, he would freak out. We would have moments where we're walking our dogs around the same time, and he lunges and her dog lunges, and but we never got into a point where they got in a fight. Do you hear the until coming? Until January of 2019, I came home from work, I believe, and I put Paco outside. So with our downstairs first level patio, we have a brick kind of border, and there is a little hook thing, and Paco is very used to being in an environment where he can run around a field on a chain and use the bathroom that way. Trying to walk him takes such a long time that we thought it was really convenient if we tie something to the front of the patio where the brick is, because it's a sturdy brick, and hook him on there, watch him by the door, and then he can do what he has to do. This particular day, I can remember this clearly. I was making dinner for myself, and I was actually on the phone with my friend, and we're talking, and all of a sudden, I think 5 minutes after I put Paco out, 5 minutes later, I hear a screaming from outside. It's literally like, no, 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 like, so I was like, oh my God, what's going on? So I'm on the phone like, oh, hold on, let me just see what's going on outside. I look, and Paco's nowhere to be found. What we tied to the brick thing was broken, and I heard to my right some, bustling and yelling, and I go over, and Paco has his mouth just latched on to this pit bull from upstairs, her ear. She has her mouth just on his neck. There is just no pulling them apart. They are like locked in. So this lady from upstairs, you'll see why I'm saying extra. You'll see why, okay? What I'm going to say next is going to sound like I'm a super uber bitch, but I'm not. She's just, honestly, she's like doing nothing. She's just standing there like, no, just doing absolutely nothing. So I come over, I open up Paco's mouth, I pick him up because he actually got out of his harness altogether, picked him up. He's like 70 pounds, as you can see, he's a huge ass dog. Picked him up, threw him inside, and closed the screen door. So I then went back over to assess like what the hell happened, and she was just like, your fucking dog attacked my fucking dog, and I'm fucking covered in blood. And I looked at her. She had a little bit of blood on her face, but she wasn't like attacked. Like, she didn't look like she had any sort of like injuries. Paco is the friendliest, maybe not to other dogs, but he is the friendliest dog when it comes to people. He has not once yet in his life ever attacked a person, ever bit a person. You can literally go on my IG stories. I post about him all the time, 24/7. I'm always cuddling with him. I'm always like face in his face, like him just licking me. He's never once ever attacked a person. So when she made a comment like, oh, I have blood over me, I got attacked too, and no, he did not attack you. It was just a lot. It was a lot of adrenaline. I was so freaked out. I hadn't even looked to see what Paco looked like. It looked as though Paco started the fight. I assessed what was going on. She had a little bit of blood on her face. I just took a look at her, and she really just looked like her ear was the only thing that she was hurt with. Like, her ear was just a little nicked. There was some blood there. And then in that moment, while I'm looking at this dog, I'm like, where is all this blood from? Because I didn't look at Paco at all. I don't know what he looks like. So I'm talking to her. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. She's like, I can't find my keys. And so I helped her find her keys. And she's like, I have to take the dog to the vet and whatever. And I was like, I am so sorry. Like, let me know how much the bill is. Like, I'd be more than happy to pay for your dog's bill. Not like I'm bawling or anything, but I just thought it was the right thing to do. Like, just how it looked like Paco attacked that dog, and that's what happened. I go back inside. I say, here's my number. Please feel free to let me know how much the vet bill is. Let me know what happens. Like, I'm so sorry. And I come back inside. In a rage, I'm just screaming up. He went to the bathroom. I hadn't even looked at him yet. I was walking from the patio to the bathroom, and I'm just like, Paco, you fucking dumb motherfucker. What the fuck is wrong with you? And I go to look at him in the bathroom, and he looks like he was ran over by a truck. He is dripping in blood. His whole face is just messed up. It was insane. Absolutely insane to look at him, because as I went down further to see like how bad his injuries were, he actually had a hole, I guess, from the other dog's tooth that pierced his lip all the way through. So he kept gushing blood from that spot. His left eye, one of his eyes, I can't remember, was just like bleeding, and he could still see out of it, but it was just bleeding. And he had like a huge scratch on his arm, and he just looked so jacked up. He didn't look bad enough to where I felt like he needed to go to a vet, and maybe that makes me a horrible dog mom, and maybe that makes me a super uber dumb bitch for not running him to the vet. But at the same time, Paco's history, when he has been in fights with dogs, he has a very tough exterior, and from looking at it, he doesn't look like his body was pierced. I cleaned him up. I washed a lot of his wounds out, and again, they just look like scratches. They didn't look like huge gashes, but with all the blood, first sight, he looked absolutely mortifying. Like, he looked as though he did need to be rushed to the vet. But after looking at him closer and wiping out a lot of his wounds, a lot of it was just covered up by blood. So it looked worse than what it actually was. That was that night when it happened. And then here's when it gets like really dramatic for me. I got a text from the neighbor who said she wasn't at the vet. She was at the hospital for herself. It was dark out, you know, but I did talk to her in dark and light settings. She looked like there was just blood on her face, like, but she said she was going to the hospital for herself because she wanted to make sure she was okay. That's being hella dramatic. I'm sorry. That is just being so dramatic. You have blood on your face, wipe it off. If you have a scratch on your finger, put Neosporin on it and call it a day. To get that kind of text message, it was almost like, okay, do you want me to pay for your hospital bill? I'm sorry, I'm not paying a $300 bill for a scratch on your finger. Like, I'm not doing that. So the next morning, Paco sleeps with us every night, and again, it was just me. Paco had just woken up, and he woke up, and his eye, the same eye that I said looked a little bloody, a little gory, kind of closed. He can see, but it was kind of, you know, had pus just coming out of his eye. The whole thing, it was just gloopy and just pussy. It was really disgusting. It was really disgusting. And I did my best to try and get him into the vet because I was concerned about what this could mean. Speaking with people at the vet, they said, you know, he could have an infection, he could not have an infection. They recommend I bring him in. And I brought him in. She did a quick look at it, and there was a couple options. It was I could look in his eye, see if it looks like he has a tear. If it doesn't look like he does, because I can only put a light through it, give him an antibiotic, and it should heal on its own, and the pus should go away. Then there was the second option, which was obviously the more expensive option. Let's go ahead and put him under anesthesia. Let me open up the eye. Let me see what's going on. And she took a look at his eye with the light, and she said, does not look like it's infected. Have him take the antibiotic. If it doesn't get any better, then we're going to have him go under anesthesia. And again, it was just me by myself with just the one income, having to make sure that I was on track with other bills. I really didn't have a whole bunch of money at the time for that anesthesia process. So I took her word for it, got him the antibiotics, and his eye got better. Then, because I'm on the, you know, lovely first floor, I can see when people come down and people go up. And the next day I see her dog, the lady from upstairs, I see her dog coming down the steps, and her dog looks fine. Her dog looks like nothing happened to it. Meanwhile, Paco has a freaking pussy eye. He had a hole in his lip and all this extra stuff. So part of me was just thinking, and I feel like this is where there can be torn opinions on it, and I'm totally down with that because everybody is subject to their own opinion. But just like my dad says, an opinion is like an asshole. Everybody has one. So I'm good. I'm totally down to get other opinions on it. But looking at this dog just trotting down the stairs, didn't look like it had a scratch on her, made me start thinking differently about what actually happened that day. It made me start thinking that absolutely 100% Paco was in the wrong, right? I was in the wrong because he did break the string. However, it kind of makes me think that maybe when Paco got off the string, maybe he just approached the dog and the dog started attacking him. Or maybe he was just walking around the grass, didn't even see the dog, and the dog started attacking Paco. It just made me think a couple other things. Not that I wouldn't want to take blame, but I feel like based off of looking at the animal, and you look at Paco and you look at her dog, and my dog looks like the one who got jumped, like who got attacked. And after just looking at Paco and talking with Sean and just kind of thinking about everything, I was like, it does not look like Paco really attacked this dog the way that she's describing it, because where is the scratches on your dog? A day later, your dog should have the same issues Paco has, if not worse, because my dog attacked your dog first. She then texted me to tell me that her vet bill was over $250 for this dog. And just thinking about the chain of events and looking at everything, I just said, you know what, I'm sorry. It does not look like your dog is even at the least hurt. Like, what did you pay $250 for? Like, your dog looks fine. I just didn't, for me, it felt like it was being over dramatized. Like, it could have been Paco did approach the dog, but then again, I wasn't there. And it was just a tricky situation because, again, I have no problem. Not that I had $250 laying around, but if it looked like it was blame on me, I absolutely 100% own up to that. And I 100% absolutely would make payments or whatever I could do to help. But when I see your dog trotting along like they're just having another Sunday morning walk, and my dog is literally can't see out of his eye, it kind of just makes me think a few different things. And the conversation didn't go very well when I said that, and she just said, I'm gonna get witnesses to vouch for this. And I was like, go ahead, because if you get witnesses to vouch for it, let me know, because not one person was there. And on top of that, if people look at my dog and your dog, who do you think they're gonna think got attacked? They're gonna think my dog. And it kind of really makes me seem like trying to like mess with the system, or like, and I felt bad about the situation, and I just wasn't buying it. Like, I don't know, I just wasn't buying it. So I think we literally said like a couple other text messages to each other, and that was it. And what has happened since then, because it has been a full year since that's happened, what has happened since then is anytime we pass each other in person, coming in and out of our building, she doesn't say anything, doesn't even look at me, right? But then what's slowly started happening a few months after the incident is when, I'm out taking Paco, and then she's out with her dogs, and our dogs like see each other from, across the street, they'll lunge at each other, and, I'll hear her saying to her dog, oh no, I know, I know you, I know, I understand, I know what happened, I know, like, really? Then what started from there is, we still put Paco out on our brick thing on a very, very much stronger rope now. It's very, very strong, and we stand out there with him and we watch him, and we have a handle on his leash so that way if something does happen we can grab him. And we still want him to have freedom. He's used to having a huge like acre of land to just run around on, and we definitely like to give him that freedom, but we watch him now, we go about things a little better. So then what started happening is she would then start coming out with her dogs while Paco was out on his thing, and we'd be standing out there, and then they would start going crazy, her dogs, and Paco at this point just stares at them. But what started happening is she just wouldn't give a shit that Paco's outside. She would just go with her dogs, and they would literally bark and tug at her, and she would just stand there and let them do it. Almost like she wants them, or wanted them to get in another fight, I guess, for like round 2. Then what progressed from there into the later half of last year, around August, September, she would start trying to take her dogs out. Paco would be out there. The same process. Nothing's changed. We're still standing out there, whatever. And she would start making comments But then the door closes, right? So she says the comment, she goes back inside, the door closes, I don't see her again for the rest of the night. And I've never been in a fight before, like in my life. Like I've been in maybe like possible fights, but I've never actually been in an actual physical altercation. And I think it's because I don't like conflict, and growing up I really didn't stand up for myself. And as I am now an adult, I definitely don't shy away from defending loved ones, myself, and Paco is a family member to me, so come at me for that. You know, making comments like that and going back inside, you're like triple my age. Maybe be a little more mature, right? If you're gonna say what you have to say it to my face. I mean, we can definitely have a conversation. I don't know how we'll end up, but you know, and that's never happened. And then there was a situation when I was out there with Paco one morning and she was coming out with her dogs, and she literally just said, you know what, I don't fucking care, and goes out with her dogs anyway and says, you shouldn't have him on that leash. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm standing right here, you dumb bitch. Like, what are you talking about? Well, that's not secure enough. Okay, mind your fucking business, okay? He's on the leash. I'm standing right here watching him. Why don't you focus on your dog right now? And she just continues walking. And since then, you know, again, still in passing, nothing is said to my face. Like, and she even mumbles shit. Like, when she even made that comment, it was mumbled. Oh my God, dog shouldn't be in the leash. Like, clearly no balls. Absolutely no balls. All of that said, to lead up to why this video is called what it is called. Because all of that animosity, all of that past history with their dogs getting into a fight with each other, all of the little, you know, mumbles under the breath and that shit. And we get home from work around the same time. So it kind of is like a beat each other to see who gets to take their dogs out first type of thing. And again, we are always watching Paco. We are always right there with him when he's outside. There's no other dogs really in our neighborhood. There's one other dog, and we barely ever see that dog. Thing is, if it was the other way around and I lived upstairs and I came outside and I saw that dog out, I would go around the back. We have a back entrance which all loops to each other. Like, it takes the same amount of time to walk to the back than it does up the stairs to the front. Like, that's a simple solution. I've taken Paco several times to the back when there's been an issue up front. So you would think, right? I come home, he's out there, it's nighttime, you know, maybe not the best time to bring your dogs out. And she opens the door, she peeks through, she sees that I'm standing there with Paco. And almost like, and I say this with how I describe it to people that I tell the story to, because it really is the best way to get you a visual as to what happened. So, you know, when the elevator door in movies are closing, right? Like, let's say 50 Shades of Grey, right? I'm only bringing that up because the first one that pops in my head, I don't know why. But the scene when Anastasia goes in the elevator, Christian is in his house at the end of the movie, and the door's closing and she goes, Christian, Anastasia, clink, and the elevator closes. That's exactly what happened here. The door pushes open a little bit. I think one of the dogs were nudging the door open, and there's like a little bit of space, right? And I saw her peek her head through, and she sees me and Paco. And then right when she backs up and the door's closing, she goes, fucking cunt, and the door closes. Then what follows is she says it, the door closes, she goes out the back of the building, and I don't see her for the rest of the night. I've been called a lot of things. Fat bitch, bitch, fucking bitch, asshole, dumb bitch, stupid bitch, fat cow, motherfucker, fucking stupid bitch. Like, I've been called a lot of other curse words, like a lot of other words. I've never in my life been called a cunt. Because I think honestly when I was growing up, that word was a word that's like fuck is okay. But the minute somebody said cunt, you're like, whoa, that's bad. Like you're like, shit, that just got real when you said the word cunt. So I think just because of that, I don't know. I've always there's just been other words in the vocabulary I could use. Like bitch is a really good one. Like, yeah, it's a female dog, but that rolls off of anybody's tongue. Bitch, like you fucking dumb bitch. Like that rolls off of anybody's tongue. Cunt is so much more like deep. It's so much more like grimy. Like, oh, cunt. Like, oh my god. Like, I don't even think I've called somebody a cunt. I've heard other people call other people cunts, but I've never been called a cunt, nor have I ever called somebody a cunt. And this one particular lady is so salty with me, so mad at me that she decides she wants to call me a fucking cunt as the door's closing to our apartment building. And I don't see her for the rest of the night. And then the next day, in passing, she says nothing. It's really kind of like, And then after that, you know, you know, this past weekend, Paco was out again. I was standing there and I literally peeked in for a quick second. And I can hear when people are coming down the stairs. And I peeked in for a quick minute. And I hear her mumble under her breath again. Fucking dog out here by himself. So I was like, no, he's not out here by himself. I'm right here. Thanks. Not good enough. Okay, have a great day. And then Sean comes out and he's like, oh my God, what happened? What's going on? And I'm like, fucking bitch from upstairs again. And I made sure she heard me because that's exactly what I think of you. If you are grown enough to use the words fucking cunt or whatever else you use, you should have the balls to say it to somebody's face if that's how you feel. If not, then just don't say it. Kill them with kindness. Like, that's a motto that's been around for years. That's a Selena Gomez song that I like. There's so many other ways you can go about it than calling somebody a name and disappearing. So you don't even have the balls to say it to somebody's face. And not that I'm a confrontational person, but I do stick up for myself these days. Even if she would have said it to my face, whatever would have happened, I'm not saying I would have beat her ass or anything, because again, I think I can fight, like in my dreams. Like when I dream about, like when I actually have a dream, fighting in my dream, I really kick the other person's ass. So it's definitely possible that I could, but I'm never one to just say that because that's not who I am. But I'll call you a fucking bitch to your face and see what happens from there. So that is the why my neighbor called me a cunt video. Because a lot of you were actually wanting me to make a video explaining why I was called a fucking cunt, and I actually haven't really. I think I posted about Paco's fight a couple times when it happened, but I never actually like got on to explain like what happened. So I wasn't annoying today. I didn't say my whole spiel about subscribing, but that's all I have for this little, I don't want to call them story times because so many people do story times, but that's really the only thing I can think of, like a telltale, truth tale, entertainment tale. I don't know. So we're going to stick with story time. I'm so sorry if I'm ripping anybody off. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel. Be sure to like the video if you liked this hilarious storytelling of my dog's fight. Be sure to comment down below. What do you think of this situation? Am I a bitch? Like, was I wrong in the situation? What could I have done differently? And just let me know, and be sure to ring the bell to be notified of my future videos. I am here Wednesdays and Sundays, 12 p.m. EST. This will unfortunately not go up on a Wednesday or Sunday. This will go up on a Friday, but I skipped Wednesday because I just needed the break from my hectic life. But again, be sure to do all of those things to show me that you love me and want me to do more videos. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.